All right, everyone, let's go ahead and get this going. This is binomial expansion using Pascal's triangle and expansion of it. Right, so got to make sure that you have Pascal's triangle readily accessible. I have it right here. Right, so you can do that, and then go ahead and use it to help you expand these out. Right, so number one, we have x plus 3 to the second power using the Pascal's triangle. We're going to be utilizing these values for the row 2, and you will know that you're using the correct row because it has a 2, in which that's what we need, because this is to the second power, right? So we're going to be utilizing the 1, the 2, and the 1, right? We're going to go ahead and put in x's for all the a term, and then we're going to start with second power, first power, and 0 power for each of those. Then we're going to put in 3, so times 3 for all the b values, and then we're going to start on the back and do second power, first power, and 0. Okay, and notice that they all should add up, all the powers, the 2 and the 0 should add up to be 2 all the time. 1 and 3 should add up to be 2. The 0 and the 2 should add up to be 2. Right, so by doing that, you get your answer of 1x squared plus 2 times 3 is 6x, and then lastly we just have 3 squared, which is plus 9. Okay, that's your answer. Okay, next one we have x minus 2 to the power of 3. That means that we're going to expand it along this third row right here. And we know it's 1 because it has 3's in there. 1, 3, 3, 1. So that's what all you need from Pascal's triangle. 1, 3, 3, 1. So we have 1, 3, 3, 1. Okay. Again, same thing. I'm going to go ahead and put x's in the front. And we're going to start off with the third power. So x to the third, second, first, and 0. And they should always come out to be 0 at the end. If you find out you're missing any or you have too many extras, that means that you're using the wrong row. Okay, and in the back, we have negative 2. And this time I'm going to put in parentheses. So negative 2, negative 2, negative 2, and negative 2. And in the back, I'm going to start with third power. So negative 2 to the third, second power, first power, and 0 power. Okay, and there's pluses in between, so because these are all individual terms. So the answer is going to be x to the third plus, okay, negative 2 to the 1 is just negative 2, and then times 3 is going to be negative 6. So I'm going to erase that plus. I'm going to put minus 6, and this is x to the second power. Okay, the third piece right here, negative 2 to the second power is 4. 4 times 3 is 12, so it's going to be plus 12. And this is just x to the first power, or just an x. The last piece, okay, x to the 0 is 1, and then we have a 1 also, and negative 2 to the third is going to be minus 8. And that's your answer right there. Okay, number 3, we have row 4. So in Pascal's triangle, I'm going to go ahead and look at row 4. Row 4 is sitting right here. That's the last freebie that I got. 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. So I'm going to go ahead and utilize that. 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. Okay. Excuse me. Right, my first term is 7, so I'm going to go ahead and put 7s throughout there. So it's going to be 7, 7, 7, 7, and 7. Okay, and since it's to the fourth power, I'm going to start off with 7 to the fourth, 7 to the third, 7 to the second, 7 to the first, 7 to the 0. And my last term is a, so I'm going to put a, 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 and I'm going to start on the back with 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And it's all pluses in between. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and try to simplify this down. So it's just 7. 1 times 7 to the 4th, and a to the 0 is 1. So it's just 7 to the 4th. So I got to figure out what 7 to the 4th is. A calculator would be good. That's 2,401. So this first one is 2,401 plus. Right? So I got to figure out what 7 to the 3rd power is. 343. So, and I have 343. That's 7 to the 3rd. But I got to multiply it by 4. So times 4. So 1372. And that's a to the 1, or just a. Okay. Next one is 7 squared. Okay, and that's 49. And then you got to multiply that by 6. That gets you 294. And that's a squared. Next is just 1 7. So 7 and then times 4 is going to be 28. That's a to the 3rd. And lastly, you don't have any 7s. You got 1, and you get a to the 4th. So it's just a to the 4th. Okay. Okay, number 4. Okay, we're looking at row 5. So on my Pascal triangle, I'm going to have to look at what row 5 is. And unfortunately, I don't have row 5, so I'm going to have to create that. So 1, add the two numbers from above. So 1 plus 4 is 5. 4 plus 6 is 10. 6 plus 4 is 10. 4 plus 1 is 5. And just 1 on the outside. So I need to use 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, 1. Okay, so I'm actually going to clean this up a little bit. If you need more, if you need space, or if you need to rewind it, but I'm going to clean this up. Okay, and again, I'm going to be using 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, 1. So for number 4, I'm going to be using 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, 1. Okay. All right, so so my first term is the 2b. So I'm going to use 2b, 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 2b. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and start with 5th power, because that's what it says right there, and go down by 1. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And then my second term is going to be 1. So I'm just going to utilize 1. So 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And if you know that 1 doesn't play a role in it, then you don't even have to utilize the 1. But if you didn't know that, then you just use it. Right? This is the plus in between. Right? And the 1s, it doesn't matter what you put, right? But just to kind of keep the pattern. So we got 5 from the back, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Right? So the first piece is just going to be 1 times 2 to the 5th power. And 2 to the 5th power should be 32. The b is also going to be to the 5th power, so b to the 5th. 1 to the 0 just means that there's no 1s. Okay. All right, 2 to the 4th power. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, and you got to go 16 times 5. Okay, that's 80. So the second term is going to be 80 b to the 4th. And I'm not even considering the 1 because 1 just makes 1. Doesn't affect this at all. Okay, next one, I got 10 times 2 to the 3rd. 2 to the 3rd is 8. 8 times 10 is 80. And then b to the 3rd. Okay, so we got 2 to the 2nd, that's 4, times 10 is 40. That's b to the 2nd. And you got 2 to the 1 is 2. So 2 times 5 is 10. That's just b to the 1st, or b. And then last part, no 2 b's, but you get 1 5. You got 1. You get 5 ones and a 1. So you get just 1. Okay. Number 6 or number 5, we need the 6th row, which means that we need to make our 6th row. So 1, 6, 15, 20, 6, sorry, 15, 6, 1. Okay. So this one we're going to use 1, 6, 15, 20, 15, 6, 1. Okay. 1, 6, 15, 20, 15, 6, 1. So double check it. All right. I'm going to go ahead and use that. So we have 3x as the first term. So it's going to be 3x, 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 3x. Okay, and starts with 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And then in the back we have a negative 2, so it'll be negative 2, negative 2, negative 2, negative 2, negative 2, negative 2, negative 2. And it starts with 6 in the back, so it'll be negative 2 to the 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And in between all of that is our addition symbols. Right. So we have 3 to the 6th power and x to the 6th power, no negative 2's. 729 is 3 to the 6th power. So 729 x to the 6th. So that's one term. Second one is 3 to the 5th. All right, so watch how I do it. So I'm going to go 3 to the 5th. Get the answer, and then I'm going to go ahead and multiply by 6 because there's a 6 in the front. Get the answer, then I'm going to multiply by negative 2 because there's one of those guys. So it'll be negative 2,916. So that's not going to be positive. So that's going to be negative 2,916. That's going to be x to the 5th. Okay, so that was minus. Next we got positive. and 3 to the fourth power. So 3 to the fourth power is 81. Times it by 15 is that. And then times it by and -2, and -2 is +4. So times it by 4. 4,860. That's going to be x to the fourth power. Next, we got 3 to the third. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Okay, then we're going to times it by 20. We're going to times it by -2, and -2, which is +4, and -2, which is -8. So -4,320. That's x to the third. Next, we got here, yeah, and let me show you. You could do this too. 15 times 3 squared times -2 to the fourth power. So you can do it like this: 2,160. That's gonna be positive. That's gonna be x squared right here. Okay, the next one we got, so 6 times 3 to 1 is just 3 times, and then -2 to the power of 5. Okay, and you get -576. And that's just 1x. Okay, lastly, we don't need a 1, and 3 to the 0 is 1 also. So all we got to figure out is 2 to the -2 to the 6th power. That's going to be positive because 6 is even. So that's going to be even amount of negatives. So basically -2 to the 6th. Or you could just do 2 to the 6th if you already figured out that's even. That's going to be 64. Okay. That was a big, long answer. Okay. Now we need x squared plus 1 to the 7th power. So that means we need the 7th row. So 1, 7. This is the 1 because we got 7. 21, 35, 35, 21, 7, and 1. So 1, 7, 21, 35. So I need a little extra space, so I'm going to use 1, 7, 21, 35. 35, 21, 7, 1. Okay, so 1, 7, 21, 35. Okay. In the front, you will have x squares. And you're going to start with 7 power, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And in the back, you're going to have 1. So actually, I'm not even going to put the 1, right? Because you know what? That's a lot to write. And all the 1s to any power is just going to be 1. And then in the back right here, the x squared to the 0, I'm not even going to put that because that's also going to be 1. So I know now that my last term is just going to be 1. Okay, so this is just going to be plus 1. Okay, my first term is 1 and the x squared to the 7th. So that's going to end up being, here, let me preset this. So plus, 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 plus. So x squared to the 7th is going to be x to the 14. That's all there is. Okay, next is 7 and the x. And then x squared and 6 is going to be x to the 12. Next is 21, and the x squared to the 5th is x to the 10. 35.
Teachers, please excuse the interruption. The results are in for the 2023-2024 class officers.
X6.
Starting with the seniors.
21.
Senior class president is
X4.
Stephanie Mayrow. Senior class vice president is Garrett Mamura.